Happy Halloween, peeps! I am Tidbit, me and my figures are girls, and today's spooky showcase is of the monstrous Horri-bull. There is supposed to be an odd inclination in the middle because it goes Horri-bull. And because this isn't just a bull, this isn't just a monstrous creature, there's something more lurking in because it's got all these spines, these stout legs, these large claws. And the more and more I mess around with this figure, the more I like her. She is just, she's got all these little detailings. Like I just noticed that there's like intake valves up here on the back to just imply that they can go charging really quick or something like that. And because this is a beast former, they do have articulation. You can rotate the head after pulling it out a tiny bit because it's on a peg. I love that. You can use this, stick it onto character shoulders to look like a beast hunter. It's just really cool. So you get all the articulation of a peg. The mouth can open like all the way. And the horns are also on pegs. But they need the peg connection to attach. So interesting choices there. And then the arms, they can extend out pretty far. And you got to make sure, we'll get into transformation about it, but there is a thing. Notice how I'm grabbing it by the claws and articulating it. And some of you may be going, how are you doing that? We'll get to there in transformation. And then you got these stout little legs in the back that can just move like so and compress a bit. And then you got the tail that you can move this lower part down or just remove it. It's on a peg to just have a more color-coded Horri-bull. This is just weapon storage. And there is one more point of interesting articulation, and that is because Horri-bull is a headmaster with Locos. You're not supposed to be Kreb is over there. Well, you can fit a headmaster in here, and they have to be, because of all the little stuff in there, they have to be in the seated position, and I find it easier to put them in if their arms are also up. So we'll just put Locos to the side, and we'll get on with seeing Kreb. That is Kreb. I don't know if it's supposed to be Kreb or Kreb. I call them Kreb because they're a little creep. And it's very interesting because you may be wondering, wait, how is this Kreb? I've seen the box images, and the box images are strangely wrong because they have the arms and the feet here in the same color as the thigh and the chest. But in hand, it's blue. So that way when it's in head mode, it's all blue. But to get to the head mode, also, my Kreb is like really stiff in the legs, and I don't know why. I have to like hold down everything to move these legs, and then it's really difficult just getting them into a basic standing position. So we'll just leave Kreb right there while we transform Horri-bull. First, let's just close up the headmaster hole, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the tail and just slide it up because there's these two notches here that the back of these two little nubs go down onto, and that's how the tail attaches. Then we're going to compress the legs, and then we're going to set them to where they want to be, which is here, and you'll know that because there's a little notch here and a hole here that they go together like that. And you'll know it's all ready because it'll sit nice and flat like this. And then we're going to take these blue panels and move them to the side like so and disconnect it from this little tiny blue notch there. You do that on both sides. And then we're going to rotate all of the blue away on these pins that are hiding behind the back legs. And when you're getting into beast mode, you're going to want to make sure, because there's multiple points that these can rotate, and so these can end up like so, and you're like, why isn't this working? you got to grab these and move them down till they are flat, like so. So that way you can do the seating position. That's how you know you're in the proper spot to then close the notches and complete the transformation. But we're going to robot mode, so you want to click these like so. Then there's just a notch back here that we're just going to slide the legs away from each other. Then there's a tiny little notch on the front here. You can just make it out, and we're rotating the panel up into this closed area. Like so. Next, we are going to take the arms. This is what I was talking about. To disconnect the claws, you want to slightly move out the fist, like so. And now these will wibble and wobble. And they will eventually click onto not this peg here, onto these. Come on, show it. Focus. Hello. There's tiny little notches there. They click till this point. But to make sure the claws don't move when you're going into beast mode, you want to take the fist, once you have the claw where it is at its maximum point, then push the fist as far as you can, because then it'll grab it from this little ledge here and it just can't move. And you can actually fully articulate the arm just by being on the claw. It becomes really sturdy. Whereas if I move the hand away, you'll notice that the claws are moving first. Then, once you have the claws clicked in and the hand flipped out, you're going to want to rotate under the elbow point here and do all of the same steps on the other side. And then finally, we're going to rotate the head up like so and move the horns so they are pointing up to mimic the box, like so. And now, finally, we can take Kreb with their little head and close them all up till they become Horri-bull's head with piercing red eyes and an interesting gold-plated mask. And then we'll just equip her with her guns. Those just go in her hands. And boom! Here we have Horri-bull. And, oh, I really like this. There's a few points that I could complain about that they could do more with. It's got an interesting ankle tilt location. There's a pin right here, so you can still, move this panel, but still have an ankle tilt. It's a very interesting way how they did that. My only complaint, most people would complain about the hollowness in the legs, but it's a transformer. It's a robot. It turned into another thing. I don't get why people are like, the hollowness takes me out of it. It's always been like this. But the thing that I want is these giant holes on the side. I wish there was just they could still be this size, but just on the inside, a port. So that way you can take a gun and stick it in here to fully weaponize her. Or so you can take the head and mount it like a beast hunter. That is my only complaint. Everything else I really love. I love that it's ooh, strongest. And they're really imposing with the spikes on them and just, they're so chunky. I love it. And they pose really well. But we're not here for posing and all that other standard review stuff. We're here for a fan mode. So let's get to that. We're going to not need the head for a bit, and we're going to disconnect all the things that are attached, like the guns and the head. We will not be needing the head for this fan mode, so you can go and slap this onto any of your characters that you so desire. Because I also love just a little thing here. The port goes right where the head would be, so you can make this with something else's head, like a blaster that looks like a face. But no, that's not the fan mode. What we are doing is you're putting the arms kind of all the way into just beast transformation, like so. But then we're rotating them up. So fist most of the way, claws, then fist all the way, rotate under the elbow, rotate at the shoulder. Next, you can kind of see where we're going to be going with this. We're going to open the panels on the feet and connect the legs. Next, we are going to disengage the locks under the knees, like so. But we are then going to rotate the waist articulation like so, and still bring down the main chassis of the legs till they end up something like this. Then rotate the side legs till the front part is kind of straight up, and then the feet are sticking back. And then rotate till you are at this position, and you might see where it is because it's mostly done. We just need to add some weapons to it. And I will slightly flex the fact that it perfectly stands on its own. We're just going to take the guns and attach them like normal. And then we're just going to slide them upside down into the notches. And here is, boom. This is a walker, as you can tell by its little legs. And you can close this up to make it cleaner, but I like to have this part out for when there isn't a pilot. So it's like a little tiny ladder for a headmaster to come and grab, climb up in. And then there's this, this all came about because I noticed there's like this funny little skull design on the cockpit. Look, 2 giant teeth, the 2 eyes. It's just really nice. And you've got this huge turret on the top that can rotate and do all these fun things. Like, you could rotate this down and then just say, this opens up and missiles come out. And it's just, it's really fun. It goes perfectly with the alt mode for squeeze play of how they're like a little defense turret. And so this is like a tower defense of the offense type. And you could put like anything you want here because if you take off this gun, you have a port to work with and a peg to work with. So this is like the standard model with just a little gun. And right now we just have kind of a slightly bigger, more precise gun. And so, yeah, that is the fan mode. Thank you for watching. To support me, you can like the video, share this video around, comment your thoughts, check out the playlist for previous videos, and subscribe to be notified when new ones come out. Bye-bye!